Good morning to everyone that is watching as well online. It's great to have you and welcome with us. You know that religion is about opening our hearts. Religion is about transforming our souls. It's not about closing our minds and follow dogmas. And we are asked as Christian and as faithful people to get out of our comfort zone and to love differently. And I will ask our cameraman to please just follow me. If you want to love differently, here's how. They'll be like, that's a pair of boots. Well, you would be correct, but it's more than that. We are doing a boot drive. And this boot drive is for Turning Point in Red Deer. We are partnering with them. And we're invited to bring winter boots or maybe even winter apparels for the people that are less fortunate than us and would totally need that this winter. So you're invited to bring this either here on Sunday morning, we have special baskets for that, or at the Rimby Municipal Library, and you will also find boxes and baskets for that. And for you at home that are watching, if you're not living in this area and cannot bring any boots or any winter coats and whatnot, please do so in your area. Find a place in your area where you can bring winter boots, winter coats, or even go to your food bank, your local food bank. That's a way of giving. That's a way of being religious. That's a way of being faithful to God's call. And let us sing together our opening hymn in more voices, 106, I Am the Dream. Now let us acknowledge the land that we are living on.
Rimby United Church acknowledges that we are located on Treaty 6 territory and respect the histories, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant society.
Well, this morning, anybody knows here what the fruits of the Spirit are? Just fruit of the Spirit. Just raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about.
You told me the other day.
I told her the other day, I told Annette the other day, so she knows. So one person knows what the fruit of the Spirit, you know. I said, raise your hands. I don't want to ask everyone. Thank you. So the fruit of the Spirit is the moral character developed by the power of the Spirit. The 9 character qualities are unified in a perfectly formed Christ-like character. Paul has expressed his desire to see Christ form in the Galatians believer. Now he describes what they will be like when that formation is complete. And these character qualities are not a new list of laws or moral codes to abide. They are the results of living in harmony with God's will. And I'm going to ask our cameraman to please put our John Dominic Crossan's quote. And the quote, I'd like to read it to you before we read the Bible. So he says, "My point, once again, is that those ancient people told literal stories, and we are now smart enough to take them symbolically, but that they told them symbolically, and now we are dumb enough to take them literally." In other words, what he says is, we take the Bible way too seriously to take it literally. That being said, let us listen to our scriptures for today.
Good morning. Our scriptures today are taken from the letter of Paul to the Galatians, chapter 5, verses 22 to 26. But what happens when we live God's way? He brings gifts into our lives, much the same way that fruit appears in an orchard. Things like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in the heart, and a conviction that basic holiness permeates things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force our way in life, able to marshal and direct our energies wisely. Legalism is helpless in bringing this about. It only gets in the way. Among those who belong to Christ, everything connected with getting our own way and mindlessly responding to what everyone else calls necessity is killing off for good, crucified. Since this is the kind of life we have chosen, the life of the Spirit, let us make sure that we do not just hold it as an idea in our heads or a sentiment in our hearts, but work out its implications in every detail of our lives. That means we will not compare ourselves with each other as if one of us were better and another worse. We have far more interesting things to do with our lives. Each of us is an original. This ends our reading for today. Praise be to God.
So as usual, people here in the room and people online, I will be preaching to myself and let you listen. I got here this morning and I said, I'll be preaching on peace today. Peace of mind. I have no business to preach about that. So what is peace? Because today we're starting a new series, Find Peace, Find Love, Find Joy, Find Kindness. And these are 4 of the fruit of the Spirit that Paul is talking about. And today we are exploring peace. Find peace. So what is peace to you? What does peace make you think of? And how would you describe peace, right? Some people will say, well, peace is the opposite of war. When conflict arises and then it ends, we are at peace. There's peace in law and order. Peace officer, right? Still thinks that it's not possible in this lifetime, that peace is basically a dream, something that is not possible, something that is not achievable. And some people say, well, only death can bring you peace. And you walk in any cemetery and you will see rest and peace. And some other people will say, well, peace is when the kids are at school or in bed. I myself will say, I find peace. I'm going to be speaking to some of you here. I find peace when this camera works well, when this computer syncs, when there's no interruption, when you can hear me. That's when I find peace. But you see, all of these notions of peace are all dependent on circumstances. When we want to have peace, we become control freak. It doesn't take a lot of discernment to understand that when we become control freaks, there's no peace. Try to be at peace and trying to control everything. It won't work. I tried. I still know it doesn't work. Still trying. So like I was saying, all these definitions of peace are basically circumstance-driven. They are independent of who we are and how we are. They're not bad descriptions of what peace is. They're just not really what the peace of God is. The peace that Paul is talking to us about this morning. So you'll find that very interesting. Is there any Irene in this room? Just raise your hand if there's an Irene. Is there an Irene online? Just click like. You'll find that interesting. The word shalom is the word peace, and I think we all know that, right? When we come into a place, we say shalom, shalom, and means peace. However, when it's been translated into Greek, it became the word Irene, or Irene. Hence the name Irene. So when you see Irene and she's not at peace, ask her what's wrong. And it means completeness. It means fulfillment. It means wholeness. And because of this context, I believe that Paul is speaking here of that profound peace, that state of mind and well-being, that inner tranquility that comes from being right with God. What does it mean to be right with God? I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning if that's what it takes. What does it mean to be right with God? It means to be in harmony with God. You can be right with God regardless of your circumstances. You can be connected with God and at peace with God regardless of circumstances. I love this passage, and I will read it to you. And Jesus is talking about exactly that. And you will find it for those Bible freak like me. It's in John 14, verse 27. Listen to this. My peace is the legacy I leave to you. I don't give gifts like those of this world. Do not let your heart be troubled or fearful. Isn't it beautiful? My peace is the legacy I leave to you. Not as the world gave. Because the world at the time was giving peace in absence of war. Have you ever heard about the Pax Romana? Rome was promising peace in the world with war. But you see, peace is not necessarily the absence of conflict. It is the presence of justice. But that was another sermon. But that peace that comes from being right with God, let me tell you, so I'm nervous, I'm stressed, I'm anxious. Things don't go my way. Does it ever happen to you? So I sit down and I'm like, God, give me peace. Quick, I don't have all day. I need it, and I need it now. But it's a fruit of the Spirit. It's a fruit. Have you ever seen an apple tree? I need to make apple, quick. It just abides. It just abides. Anchor its roots into the ground, its leaves into the sun, and it abides. The fruit of peace is not a result of your own, what did you say? It comes gradually. It's not because of your efforts. It's because of your abiding. It's not because of the level of your faith, if there's such a thing. It's your abiding in God. I know it's easy to say, and it's beautiful on paper. People everywhere search for peace. We sing song about peace. We travel and we go on pilgrimage for peace. Many wealthy people try to find peace. But the peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, Jesus said. It's already there. It's just for us for the taking. We don't need to go into India or Sri Lanka in a monastery. Monastery? Yeah, that word. To find peace. It's there for us to grab. Because you see, the world is offering promises of peace with the absence of war, absence of conflict, only harmony, and then only in computers that work well and cameras that do pan perfectly. Are we doing well, Mr. Cameraman? We're doing perfect. How's the sound online people? I need to know. I need to be at peace. No comments on sound. Okay. No comments at all? I need to know that because I'll be at peace, see? Let me tell you, after months and months of technical problem, all this Sunday morning team was... Anyways, I'm digressing. Anything new? God offered peace in the midst of chaos. Jesus slept in the middle of a tempest. We can find peace, and it's for us to take it in. But that peace is only, this peace is possible. Time out, I need coffee. I need peace, I guess. Here's what Paul says in Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. I love that. Don't be anxious about things. Instead, pray. Pray about everything. God longs to hear your requests. So talk to God about your needs and be thankful for what has come. And know that the peace of God, a peace that is beyond any and all of our human understanding, will stand watch over your hearts in the midst of and minds in Jesus, the Anointed One. The peace that surpasses all understanding. You'll be at peace in the middle of a financial crisis. You'll be at peace when your body is not as healthy as you wish. You'll be at peace when you are in conflict with people. You'll be at peace. A peace that doesn't make sense. peace that is beyond any and all of our human understanding. I love that. Peace, listen to this. Peace is a fruit of the Spirit, and to understand how this fruit is produced in us is in the fact that it's called fruit of the Spirit. That fruit can only grow when it's anchored into the Spirit of God. Look at your fruits, and if you're not happy with your fruits, look at where your roots are. If you want to have pears, make sure that you're a pear tree anchored into the ground. If you want to bear spiritual fruits, make sure that you are anchored in God. So these fruits, or this fruit of the Spirit, is conditional about our abiding in God. Listen to this. The fact that it is called the fruit of the Spirit, not fruits. Have you ever noticed that? Fruits. It's not called fruits of the Spirit. It's called fruit of the Spirit, but there's 9. So that means there's not a season for the fruit of love, and then a season for the fruit of peace, and then a season for the fruit of kindness. They all come together. They all are coming from the same tree, manifesting in the world in different ways. Again, peace, it does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. It's interesting that sometimes we have health, we have money, we have good relationships, and we're not at peace. And then you look at somebody else that has none of this, and they are at peace. I'm a very type A type person. I'm an action-oriented person. I have a strong leadership gift in me. But the downside is I'm not often at peace. That's why I'm saying today I don't feel qualified for this. So I'll be preaching to myself and let you listen. And if that applies to you, good. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Did you know that you cannot achieve those by yourself? This peace that comes from the Holy Spirit does not mean a lack of conflict. My peace I leave to you. There's nothing wrong with looking for peace. A few months ago, somewhere that I will not name online, but that I will point at, said to me, how about you just go in the back, center yourself for a little moment of spiritual retreat before you come in and preach. That changed my life. Thank you. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, that's her fault. Raise your hand so you can get the flag at the end. Well, somebody else said, take 2 days off in a row. Never dawned on me in 10 years of ministry to take 2 days off in a row. What often happens is that I will be working on my days off, and now I have 2 days together, and it gives me peace. So my point is, yes, there is outside things that you can do that will bring you peace, that will bring you calm. But don't forget the spiritual aspect of peace as well. That's all I have to say. Amen. Now, thank you for all who are watching. Before we disconnect, I'd like to make an announcement. So please help us, and our cameraman will be putting the slide on your screen. So please help us in our ministry, because without you, this would not be possible. If you'd like to make a gift, you can do so by e-transfer at the email address on your screen. Every bit counts. What you can offer can make a big difference. Another way to give is to share this worship on your social media. Charitable tax receipt will be issued at the end of the year when you provide your address. Thank you, all of you who are online, for your ongoing support. In the meantime, thank you for watching, thank you for being with us, and we'll be continuing with our worship today. Thank you.